Junior Mints chocolate covered toothpaste. Candy corn came up a decent amount too so far. Smarties. Tastes like I'm biting into colorful Lexapro. Almond Joy and Mounds. Whoppers. Or any kind of malted milk balls. Hot tamales. Okay, so I think I'm gonna stop with this one just because a lot of it is getting repetitive now. Lots of Necco wafers, black licorice, candy corn. Okay, so the next question. What is your go-to fact that blows people's minds? George Washington died in 1799. Dinosaurs were discovered in 1824. George Washington didn't know dinosaurs existed. All the Botox in the world, literally every gram, is produced in a factory in Westport, County Mayo, Ireland. Another fun Botox fact. Botox, or botulinum toxin, is a neurotoxin produced by the bacterium Clostridium botulinum and is one of the most poisonous known biological substances. The amount injected into your muscles is small enough to just paralyze them. And I'm sorry, I know I butchered the name of the bacterium. Greenland sharks can become up to 400 years old. I read somewhere that the oldest known specimen was apparently 512 years old. That shark was swimming around decades before Shakespeare was born. We landed on the moon before someone thought to add wheels to suitcases. Moon landing, 1969. Wheeled luggage invented, 1970. The Earth is traveling through space at 1.3 million miles per hour relative to the cosmic background radiation, which means by the time you finished reading this, you've traveled roughly 5,420 miles through space. The gene for 6 fingers is dominant, 5 fingers is recessive. There are more castles in Germany than McDonald's in the US. A graveyard is connected to a church, while a cemetery is not. A cemetery is a place where you bury people However, my first jet takeoff was LAX to Denver with 68 unsuspecting passengers. Back in the days of dinosaurs, there was no grass. There is some overlap, but there was a time when dinosaurs walked the earth and there was no grass. There are more trees on planet Earth, about 3 trillion, than there are stars in our galaxy, about 800 billion. Note, it says our galaxy, the Milky Way, not the entire universe. Still, I find the sheer number of trees on our planet impressive. Neptune was originally discovered as apparently inexplicable changes in the orbital path of Uranus, because a man named Leverrier, observing these alterations, decided that there must be an orderly reason for it. He calculated where another planet would have to be to cause Uranus to act like that, and still keeps the law of gravitation discovered by Sir Isaac Newton. He then sent his calculations to Royal Observatory in Berlin, and the prediction was within 1 degree of its actual position. Ancient Egypt and mammoths existed at the same time. OMG usage can be traced back to 1917. Tamales are one of the oldest dishes on Earth, still commonly eaten today. In a group of 23 random people, the probability of 2 of them sharing a birthday is over 50%. Giraffes have the same number of neck bones as humans. You could fit the global population on the surface of Lake Superior, and each person would have 100 square feet or so. Also, the Great Lakes, in their current formation, are not even as old as the oldest cities on Earth. Also, the North American Great Lakes account for 20% of all surface fresh water on Earth, while the African Great Lakes account for 25%. So between those 2 systems, you have almost half of all fresh water on Earth. Okay, last one for this question. When it's so quiet you can hear snow falling, you're actually hearing the static discharge of the snowflake hitting the ground. It gathers the electricity while it's falling to Earth. Okay, last question for today. What is the craziest thing that's ever happened to you? Was going to see a concert with some friends. Printed my ticket at home. This was before mobile tickets were a thing. We all decided to meet at a bar about a mile from the venue and then walk over after a few drinks. We have our drinks and some food, When we get there, I suddenly realize I don't have my ticket on me. Panicked, I run back to the bar. Check my car in the parking lot. Nothing. Head inside the bar. Check the table we were at. Look everywhere. No ticket. Bummed and dejected, I leave the bar and begin to trek back to the venue to let my friends know I can't go with them. While I was waiting at a crosswalk, the wind blows a bit, and with it, a sheet of paper floats past me and comes to a stop on the sidewalk. I reach down, pick it up, and it's my goddamn printed ticket. One of the best days of my life. I was walking through the woods with my boyfriend in high school, and we found some papers scattered everywhere. They were really old and gross, but we were like, oh, what if it's the D.B. Cooper briefcase or something, and picked up a sheet to see what it was, and it was a homework assignment I completed and turned in during the 4th grade. Nothing could have prepared me to see my own name in my own childhood handwriting in the middle of the woods. Was going from Rio de Janeiro to Paris with my aunt and cousins. The day before we were supposed to fly, we changed our flight to the following day so someone could pick us up at the airport when we arrived. Our original flight was the Air France 447 that fell in 2009, and everyone died. I was at a stoplight in a convertible, and a taxi cab came hurling in my direction at over 100 miles per hour. He thought his brakes failed, but he was actually pounding the accelerator. He went into a ditch as he approached me, and it sent him airborne. He scraped along the side of me. His tires left a mark at my elbow level. His bumper grazed my head, and he flipped 3 times and crashed into the truck in front of me. His bumper removed a mole on the back of my head, and I had a massive concussion that kept me in the hospital for a week, but I was otherwise unhurt. Incredible car accident. Have a $2 bill that has me and my wife's signature on it saying, just the 2 of us. We did it when we first got together, and after a while had it framed. Some years later, it was stolen by someone who decided to break into my house. I ended up going to some random gas station weeks later, and I got it back as change. Literally just stood there and stared at it in disbelief and told the cashier about it. Just insane coincidence and luck. Still have that sucker, and it's been another 5 years. As I walked into a high school hockey game, I had a strong premonition I would be hit with a hockey puck while sitting in the stands. I told all my friends, who very much laughed. I asked them to choose our seats, which ended up pretty far away at center-ish ice. They made fun of me all game until halfway through the second when a puck comes screaming off the ice and hits me square in the chest, falling flat into my open hands. We never talked about it much after that. And no, I do not think I'm psychic. It was just the craziest thing that happened to me that popped in my head. I still have the puck 30 years later. Taking a beautiful Saturday morning ride home on my motorcycle. Minivan pulled out in front of me. Totaled motorcycle and van. Hospital did a scan of my head. Come to find out I had brain cancer that we caught very early, which may have saved my life. I'm a medic and firefighter. We once had a call shotgun rigged to the door. The guy had set a booby trap for us. We kicked in this plexiglass type material on the side of the building and entered that way. The guy was dead. Nothing we could do about it at that point. I would have been the first through that door. No idea why I didn't just walk through it that day. I moved away from my hometown when I was 20. I started working for a company that had several locations around the city. One day, I just happened to be walking past one of the locations that I didn't work at because I was going to an eye appointment. Right as I was walking by, a guy I knew from the other location walks out the door and tells me that my mom is on the phone. She was desperately trying to get in touch with me because my grandfather had died. She knew the name of the company I worked for, but didn't know which location I worked at, so she got an operator to connect her with one of the locations at random. The guy I knew said he was on the phone with her and was just starting to explain that I didn't work at that location when he looked out the window and saw me walking by. I was visiting the UK for the first time. I got to my hostel and started chatting with this Australian guy in the bed above mine. When I mention where I'm from, he says there's a famous restaurant there he really loves and goes to with his family every time they visit. Turns out it was a place I used to work. He says, "Hey, I have a picture of our server from the last time I was there. Maybe it's someone you know." It was me. The person who posted this is American, by the way, so the Australian guy was talking about when he visits America.